We're talking today about Handle's data server and security. Gordon, can you give us an overview of how this works?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions when people are either setting up a new server, new implementation, or a common thing is they're migrating. They're either going to stand up a new server for a new operating system, or maybe they need new hardware, or they're moving to a hosting environment. No matter what the situation is, the requirements for configuring all of this are the same. And one of the most important things to understand is this image on the screen gives a good depiction of how the whole system works and talks together, which is important to understand before we get into the details of how this sets up. The first thing I want to make note of here, or the main piece of this that you need to pay attention to, is the Handle 2.0 cloud server at the top of the screen. That is a server that hosts the actual Handle 2.0 application. And it has all of everything you need to actually power the application and all the components and everything of it. It's also where you go to log in. So you'll notice that there's a user over on the left side of the screen where it says step 1. So there's a process that someone goes through in getting into the system. The first thing is they pull up handlecrm.com, they log in with their username and password. The second step that happens is the cloud server knows, based on their username, what data server they are to be connected to. So every organization has a data server due mostly to all the different integrations that we have that pull in all the data and combine it and run all their automations and scripts and things that are going on. And so it connects to that data server, and that data server can be any place. It can be at a hosted environment. It could be internally hosted. We could be hosting it for them for that matter. But it uses that to authenticate and make sure that that user is valid. Now, this is where it gets a little unique, a little bit of a hybrid model in how we operate, in that once it's validated that user and their password and that they're good and they've got access to this data, it then passes a secure token to them, which you can see in step 3. So step 2 does the validation back and forth, returns the secure encrypted token back to the user's machine or the device that they're on, whether that be a mobile device or their desktop, and then allows them a direct connection using that secure token, or the way we describe it a lot is like a passport. It's validated your passport. You've got access to this data. You now have a temporary connection, as long as it's live here, from that device that's on a certain network and with your user credentials connecting to that data. Now, if any of that stuff changes, we'll talk more about that a little bit later, where it will require other levels of authentication or multi-factor authentication under certain circumstances. But as long as that user has authenticated from that device and on that that network using that same IP before, it will allow them through and give them access to the data, where all the integrations are running in the background automatically from the device where the application has been downloaded from the cloud.